Am I still sharing the screen?
Yeah, I see it looks like a blue ocean and a mountain. It's beautiful. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. We're broadcasting live from Park City, Utah, where I am. And Stewart, you're in Texas. Did I get that right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Uh, so super excited to have Stewart with us today. Fascinating topic and really innovative business and an investment opportunity, which is the purpose of our discussion today. We can't hear or see you in so much that we know you're there, uh, but we encourage you to ask questions through the Q&A or the chat box. And we have a lot of people coming on today. So as your questions come to mind, please feel free to post them and we'll get to as many as possible. We're going to be recording this and with Stewart's permission, post it to the Family Office Insights YouTube channel and preferably on the Tier 1 website so you can view it there. Also, during our discussion today, if there's others that you think would be interested in hearing what you hear today, you're most welcome to make sure that you put them in touch with Stewart or share the video, whatever makes sense. I've had a crash course in graphene. We've known about it for quite a long period of time. And so we're going to not only learn about it today and what the challenges are with producing graphene, the solutions that Tier 1 is endeavored to solve here and in fact have solved. So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. And please feel free to ask your questions. And we'll make sure that everybody can get in touch with Stewart directly post-webinar. We also are expecting to do a follow-up webinar, investment webinar next week, and we'll make sure we share that with everybody as well. I have to thank my friend Chris Davino because he was the nexus of connectivity for Stewart and some of the other folks that are involved here. And so we're super grateful for that. And big shout out to Chris. So with that, Stewart, welcome. Thank you for being here. Want to share a little your background and then we'll get into the meat of the matter?
Oh, delighted to be here. Honored to be here. A little bit of my background. So this is my 41st year of work, I guess. I guess I'm most proud of being a grandfather, a father, a husband. But in my work for the last 40 years, I've worked predominantly in technology-related industries and companies. A lot of work in the information technology, semiconductor, software. I worked for companies like IBM, Intel, Qualcomm, Trimble Navigation, and along the way created a number of startups to pioneer what we know of today as artificial intelligence. I've been working in areas of that for the past 30 years. I became involved in with Tier 1 about a year ago. I reached out to my network of relationships and said I'd really like to focus a lot of my energy on doing good things in an impactful area. And I said I'm interested in renewable energy, and I'm interested in reestablishing manufacturing in the United States. And so fortunately, through Peter Stropel and the Friends of Peter Network, I was introduced to the founder of Tier 1, and and he introduced me to his passion, his vision of establishing energy generation, transformation, storage at the point of use. Instead of being heavily dependent upon centralized energy generation systems, but actually implementing that out, where we learn, work, and play. And So I listened and listened, and I became very intrigued with the opportunity that we have to actually make significant advancements in one particular area, which is energy storage. There's not been any dramatic leaps in energy storage as there have been, in other areas like the semiconductor industry and Moore's law and so on. And so what really set the hook for me was the opportunity, number one, to make a significant difference in energy and self-sufficiency and sustainability, and to reestablish manufacturing in the United States. And so I'm honored to be here today to present to you, to your network, the opportunity to join us at what I consider to be the forefront of material science innovation. We're spearheading the graphene revolution, leveraging this wonder material's unparalleled potential for a greener and ever more efficient future. We're seeking $30 million investment to scale our operations and solidify our leadership position. And we invite you to join us in this venture as we drive and ride the wave of breakthrough graphene applications. Let me tell you a little bit about the opportunity of graphene, okay? Graphene discovered 20 years ago. It occurs in nature. It's a naturally occurring element, a single layer of carbon atoms arranged in a hexagonal formation. Turns out, it is the strongest material, that we've identified, 200 times stronger than steel, yet incredibly light. This extraordinary strength can transform metal alloys. Think of steel and titanium and aluminum and composite materials, enhancing their durability and the efficiencies of the products that they go into. And we haven't even started tapping this yet, okay? 200 times stronger than steel, 10 times the thermal conductivity of copper. Graphene can improve the heating and cooling capabilities of products. Just imagine the capabilities, with 10 times the improvement in thermal conductivity, the improvements that we can have in insulation, in both heating and in cooling application. And what's most remarkable is 1,000 times the electric conductivity of copper, 1,000 times the conductivity. So graphene enables dramatic improvements in electrical and electronic applications across the board. What can these do for industries? Okay, how can industry be affected by graphene? We pause and think about it. If I have this wonder material, it's going to lead to the redesign of everything that humanity has ever made. Everything, okay? And the new designs of things that humanity has not yet made. It's an enormous undertaking and a tremendous opportunity. For example, in construction, okay, graphene promises stronger, lighter, sustainable materials. Graphene revolutionizes energy storage, enhances solar panels and wind turbines, air and water filtration systems, aerospace, automotive benefit immensely, with graphene enabling more robust, efficient, lightweight solutions. The list goes on and on, limited only by the imagination. It all sounds good. What's the problem? Okay. The problem is these industries are all awaiting scalable, affordable, high-quality graphene. The future is being held hostage by a challenge that Tier 1 is dedicated to overcoming. Tier 1 has a solution through a patented carbon-negative, cost-effective production process that delivers quality graphene at scale. This process begins with biochar, transforming it into a valuable carbon-sequestered material. Green graphene, it's trademarked Biocene. What sets this apart is its environmental benefit and its economic viability. The simplicity of the process enables recovery of capital investment for a Biocene reactor within the first year of operation. The process enables us to supply bulk graphene, serve green construction advancements, and innovate in energy storage product development all at the same time. Tier 1 holds the right to produce biocene for any application and holds a worldwide exclusive license to use biocene in the field of energy, aligning Tier 1 at the intersection of ecologically responsible and industrial innovation to set a new standard in sustainable applied material science.
So, Stewart, if you don't mind, I don't want to interrupt your flow here, but for those of us that are uninformed and maybe a pedestrian question to sort of frame this out a little bit more, I know you're going to talk about the cost, but is it fair to say it's graphene is being used today in use cases that can stand the excessive cost of it? In other words, are people actually using graphene now where it does make sense and how expensive it is?
Yeah, graphene today, if you go out and price bulk graphene, you want to make a new product. They all have to be redesigned. And so you may be sourcing graphene for $200 a kilogram, right? Or, for a couple pounds of the material. You may be sourcing it for $2,000, for $20,000. And so as soon as you're sourcing that material and, at that price point, and you're saying, okay, what sort of application, can I make? How can this be applied so that I can recover that $2,000, for roughly two pounds of this material? And so as soon as you ask that question, the scope of opportunities grows very narrow, because, if you're going to consume it all in one product, a $2,000 product is well beyond, typical consumer products. And so the challenge that the market has had, up until now, is that you can't get good quality graphene, in enough quantity at an affordable cost to be able to target applications to reach a large market. You'll find niches, applications in coding, coding of processes and that are very, very high demanding, high quality, processes. And so it's not a very large market. It doesn't scale like the massive construction market does. You look at applications in energy storage, you'll find graphene-enabled supercapacitors out there. And so, you'll find a supercapacitor that may be charging somebody $2,000 per kilowatt hour, which is 10 times the amount of the cost of a typical battery energy storage for grid scale storage. So the problems that you run into today is that the lack of available, affordable, quality graphene at scale is limiting the scope of applications that people can develop and introduce to market.
In the example that you use with the capacitor, for example, is that a plausible use case in terms of the trade in performance presently?
It is. You'll find applications, for example, charging an electric vehicle, okay, where you want to get a lot of energy transferred, from the charging station to the electric vehicle in a short amount of time. A supercapacitor is a very good tool to accomplish that energy exchange. The challenge that you have is the entire electric vehicle charging network challenge. And so you have to be able to source enough electricity to keep the supercapacitors or the battery energy storage, that are feeding those charging stations full. And you have to have, a large enough population of electric vehicles for you to, justify, build a business case around making that sort of premium investment in that one component to make fast charging, more prevalent.
Yeah.
So as soon as it's the electric vehicle charging network, it's a network problem. So you may solve it right there for that one recharging with that one supercapacitor, and then the next electric vehicle owner pulls their vehicle up to recharge, and lo and behold, that supercapacitor doesn't have its energy because it hasn't been refilled from the network.
Got it. Okay. It gives us some context. All right, carry on. Thank you.
So let's look at where the graphene is achieving, its potential, in the markets that we're serving. Okay, so we look at Tier 1's current traction. Our revenue streams are diverse and they're robust, stemming from three key areas. First, there's bulk biocene, the bulk green graphene. And as I mentioned earlier, the product can sell for $200 per kilogram. It can sell for $2,000 per kilogram. But at a $200 per kilogram price, Tier 1 will be producing over $4 million of biocene per day within 6 months of raising this investment round. It's a nice business, $2 million, $4 million per day. The green graphene or biocene, it's great to be able to produce that and have it available, but it's meaningless unless it's put into applications that serve humanity. And so the first area, greatest impact, is in the construction sector. The green construction materials, our products, C-Mix, green rebar or hurricane bar, and Permastrong are making significant inroads. We've already have over $12 million in construction projects lined up in Puerto Rico. Moreover, recently, we've been exploring the broader market for green construction materials and have identified over $8 billion in projects serving initiatives in Saudi Arabia and Mexico alone, confirming just how large and robust the global demand for sustainable building materials is. Looking at these products a little bit closer, okay, the Tier 1 graphene-enabled products, as I mentioned, have had the greatest impact in the green construction market. That market is projected to double from $422 billion last year to over $950 billion by the year 2030. C-Mix, the patented graphene-enhanced concrete admixture, is revolutionizing this industry, delivering stronger, lighter, faster setting concrete solution that works with brackish and salt water. So think about that. You get stronger, faster, lighter, a much more homogeneous setting structure, and you're able to actually produce this without taxing our fresh water supply. You can do this with brackish and salt water. What's more important is it uses less Portland cement. Portland cement is produced from baking limestone, and it's a significant contributor to the production of carbon dioxide, the release of carbon dioxide into our environment. And so C-Mix, it's been perfected over a decade in the demanding environments of South Florida. It reduces the CO2 by reducing the need for the Portland cement, and in turn, the C-Mix concrete itself serves as a CO2 absorber. Green rebar, hurricane bar, is made from basalt fiber reinforced polymer, a lot of words, or BFRP. It's redefining construction standards, taking the place of traditional steel rebar, stronger, lighter than steel, significantly cutting down on both transportation and labor costs, and eliminating the need for corrosion preventative coatings. The third leg of the stool in the green construction products is the patented Permastrong building system, integrating C-Mix and the hurricane bar it reduces material and labor costs by up to 50%, enabling efficient construction of durable, custom-designed structures that are resistant to natural disasters. Think about that. Durable, custom-designed structures resistant to natural disasters. So no more of the modular, looks like a trailer, off the wheels, low-income home. You can have the custom home, that you desire, and in the area where you choose to live, that will be resistant to natural disasters, and it will be affordable. So these groundbreaking products position us at the forefront of sustainable construction, aligning with the global shift toward eco-friendly building practices.
And all that makes sense in even to someone like me that doesn't really understand all this stuff or been exposed to the construction business in that way. Are these products been accepted by the marketplace in an open and way, and are they expecting this to come to market, or are they using it now? What's the status of these products?
Yeah, the green construction products are well received in the marketplace. The way that construction works is you have regional authorities. Okay, you have city codes, you have state, and you have federal. In the United States, the most difficult areas to work with historically, the most stringent codes happen to be in South Florida and in California. And so we have achieved acceptance in those two environments. So to answer your question, we've jumped over the highest hurdles first.
The regulatory stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in those environments. So dealing with the hurricanes, dealing with the flooding, dealing with the fires, having to be fireproof for California. And so fortunately, we've dealt with those tough issues first. So the answer to the question of, are these materials accepted? Are they being embraced? It's going to be dependent upon each one of the geographies within which we initiate construction projects. So there are construction projects in Texas, in Florida, and Alabama, and Mississippi. And so, we have projects working from the Southeast across the central US to the West Coast. And then, and they'll work their way up, into the Midwest, into the Mid-Atlantic, and into the eastern states. And so it'll just be project by project. We'll end up earning those certifications for each one of those regional authorities.
Great. One other question, if you don't mind, Stewart, from the audience, and I'm pretty sure how this question has come about, in that I think in discussing the opportunity to participate in this webinar, we've probably put tier one solar out there in some way or another, and they're asking about how graphene might benefit solar technology development.
That's a very good question. So the benefit to solar energy generation, I'm expecting it to be very profound. We're at the very early stages of employing graphene as coatings on photovoltaic surfaces. If you look at the graphene itself, at the material itself, its ability to operate as its impermeability is very strong. You can't get a hydrogen atom, right, which is the smallest atom that we know of, right? You can't get that through the graphene matrix. And the other thing that's interesting about that graphene matrix is its photoelectric effects and how it deals with light energy. And so we're just beginning, we're only starting to see the benefits that can be gained in, in photovoltaics through the use of graphene coating. In the case of graphene coating, the applications are more to increase, to reduce the resistance for conducting electricity, to eliminate the loss of those photons that you're converting into electrons. The big breakthroughs that I anticipate we will find are going to be in the photoelectric effect of the graphene array itself. And so we may find some extraordinary improvements in harvesting electrons directly from photons once we have single layer graphene produced economically and at a scale that can be tested for these types of applications.
It's fascinating. You see,
Let me give you just a data point for those of you who are familiar with the solar industry, where the photovoltaics, are pushing, 20, pushing 24, 26% efficiencies. We have some anecdotal data points, from some laboratory reports that more than 3 times that efficiency level has been able to be achieved. And again, it's anecdotal. It's early, but keep in mind, if you're perfectly happy with the 100-acre solar farm that you're investing in, that you're building out there, imagine that on that same footprint that you can have 3 times the amount of energy being generated from that same footprint. Or on the other hand, you could decide to take 70%, of your acreage back.
Right. Yeah, more production per acre. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Okay, we've got some questions, but please continue. Maybe we'll answer them as you go along.
When Ryan Doherty started the company to really, pioneer energy independence at the edge, and that means generation, the solar photovoltaics. Don't discount wind. That's also part of the picture. The transformation of the energy and the storage of the energy. The critical path, the massive obstacle in the way of renewable energy delivering independence, from fossil fuels is storage. It's plain and simple energy storage. The beautiful thing about the work that Ray Rubio did in pioneering and inventing the process to produce graphene and building that graphene into that custom townhome in Miami, where he's storing energy, in the wall, is he has proven the extraordinary benefits that graphene lends to energy storage. And so construction and advancements in green construction lead complementary to energy storage. Each one of these green construction developments that we're involved with have renewable energy requirements, and every one of them have energy storage requirements. And so we're getting a lot of requests for, let's go ahead and enable this concrete filled walls, to serve as the energy storage, for my residents. We'll get there. It's a process. So, but let's take a look at energy storage independent from construction so that we understand what the opportunity looks like. We're familiar with, lithium batteries, lithium for cars, thermal runaways, fires that you can't put out. The fact that we're so desperately dependent upon China for lithium and for cobalt processing, and all the badness in sourcing these rare earth materials. And so the market demand is out there for the capabilities that these materials enable. So energy storage is the linchpin. We're seizing this growing opportunity by 2050. Okay, the plans of the U.S. Department of Energy, anticipate a 500 times growth in the grid energy storage. These systems that we will install on, in our communities, on our electrical transmission and generation networks, and rely on to operate, our businesses and our homes. Today, current course and speed, all of that battery energy storage, is dominated by lithium iron phosphate material supplied, 95 to 98% by China. And if we do nothing different, okay, then that material will represent $12 billion of opportunity in the US alone through the year 2050. So if we don't come up with better inventions, better innovations, that $12 billion is going to go for that set of materials, and that we will be dependent upon China to deliver. Okay. That China lithium materials business is available for Tier 1 to capture today because we've proven that we can create batteries, graphene, sodium, calcium batteries that do not depend upon rare earth elements, do not depend upon lithium. And they actually deliver not equivalent, but 2 times the energy density of the best lithium technology that can be found today. So we expect, by 2025, a seismic shift with Tier 1's graphene-based energy storage solutions beginning to replace the lithium iron phosphate materials, making the first major inroads of graphene in this space. So Tier 1 strategically positioned to supply bulk biocene graphene to energy storage OEMs, people you might think would be competing with us, but that's okay. While concurrently developing our own range of cutting-edge biocene-enabled battery cells, supercapacitors, and battery energy storage systems. Our dual approach ensures that we cater to immediate market demand while shaping the future of the energy storage technology. To give you
Stewart, I'm sorry, I know you're going to get into this, but I just want to clarify something. Is the technology to make that better battery with the graphene instead of the lithium graphite, whatever the proper science is that yet to be tested, or it works?
No, we've developed it, tested it. It's operating. That townhome that I mentioned, operates at 24 hours a day today. There's a 1 megawatt energy storage module that Ray Rubio built that is 1/5 of the size of what the at best maybe 340 kilowatt lithium iron phosphate systems can deliver. So we already have proven working pouch prismatic battery cells that we made that can discharge to 100%, which you cannot do that with a lithium cell. Otherwise, you run the risk of explosion or fire. It can recharge to 100%, and it has a discharge recharge cycle life of no less than 10,000 cycles. And so it solves all of the problems that are endemic in the lithium in lithium battery space, and it uses less costly and more readily available materials. From a supply chain that can be sourced, right here in the United States.
Yeah. Wow. That's huge. Well, thank you for that.
So I touched on a couple of the points on this slide responding to that question. So you have dramatic energy density and charge-discharge cycles, minimum of 5 times. So this greater discharge capacity and faster discharge rate than anything that lithium-based solutions can provide today. It means that Tier 1 can deliver energy storage that's 5 times larger, lasts 5 times as long, and much faster than the very best that China Lithium Solutions can provide. Because of the extraordinary electrical and thermal conductivity of graphene, these energy storage systems consume less energy, and they do not require complex environmental control and fire suppression systems. Imagine having massive, affordable, long-lasting energy storage at affordable prices. So we see Tier 1 biocene driving both technological and market disruptions, setting new standards in energy storage and prioritizing performance, safety, and efficiency. Talk a little bit about sales and marketing. So our sales strategy, 3 fronts. The bulk biocene green graphene sales, they're the foundation. They enable everything. Green construction and energy storage business units on top of those. We're driving sales through a trio of avenues: the construction combination of CMIX, the Hurricane Bar, and Permastrong. Our energy storage partnerships advancing Tier 1 biocene, battery energy storage systems, and the vital bulk graphene sales. When it comes to marketing, our marketing is to focus on educating the marketplace. We'll leverage over 30 CMIX success stories. We'll create video customer case studies and lean heavily, into the use of artificial intelligence, both to reach the members in the focus communities, that we're addressing, and to teach the communities through intelligent agents that are taught by our subject matter experts. Let's take a look at competition. At this stage of the game, competition is really about the production process. As I mentioned earlier, graphene occurs in nature, and part of what we do as scientists and engineers is we're trying to uncover, and unravel the mystery of how nature actually forms this wonder material. And so some people take a brute force approach where they'll apply a tremendous amount of energy. They'll consume far more energy, than the worth of the material to seek the outcome, that they're looking for. But right now, if you look out at the hundreds of companies that are attempting to solve this production problem, the competition's between the different approaches. So Tier 1 biocene excels with unmatched scalability and affordability. The production prioritizes environmental and safety standards and offers a sustainable and simplified solution without sacrificing quality. Mechanical exfoliation, which was how graphene was discovered, produces high quality. You can't scale it. Silicon carbide, epitaxial growth, and chemical vapor deposition offer quality at high costs with a negative environmental impact. Graphite oxide chemical reduction and liquid phase exfoliation present mixed results, balancing between medium and scalability, affordability, and environmental impact. While detonation process has promise, it faces challenges in scalability and in environmental safety. So with Tier 1 biocene, it's overcome these common hurdles. will set new benchmarks for the industry, firmly establishing Tier 1 as a preferred choice in graphene production. And we're only getting started. Our process is harvesting graphene, from biochar. Okay, it is not synthesizing graphene. We will continue, just like we're forward integrating into our markets, we will continue backward integrating into the production, into the biomass process, and further into the graphene synthesis. So the story is all about the team that's assembled. And so I'll tell you the story of the team chronologically because it's easier for me to do. It begins with Ryan Doherty, who I mentioned earlier, running into an obstacle, trying to get an electrical utility service to a residential development he was planning. 18 months and $2 million per mile to attach to the grid inspired Ryan's vision of a future where generation storage, needs to be at the point of use. And Ryan is a networker. He knows how to network and get connected with people. He connected with Robert Fisher. Bob is an American working in Asia. He's established key supply relationships with the best technology companies that China has to offer, where over 95% of renewable energy products are made today. And through those relationships, Ryan was able to present solutions in renewable energy product solutions to the marketplace. It was his networking that then, connected him to another renewable energy professional, William Huber. I consider William to be a salesman's salesman who leads Tier 1 sales, bringing discipline, professionalism, and poise to what turn out to be industry-changing engagements. William had worked prior to solar in nanotechnology with a gentleman by the name of Ray Rubio. And Ray had invested over 25 years in advanced composites and carbon materials with specific focus on graphene and graphene application in the past 15 years. Ray Rubio has developed myriad applications exploiting this wonder material because he perfected the process to produce enough for him to be able to experiment, including the custom-built townhome that I mentioned earlier. Creating the patented C-Mix admixture was a collaborative process, working with Jared Dargenio and many construction projects and companies. Jared leads the hands-on in the field work with construction companies, onboarding their teams to green construction. We're honored to have Major General Paul Kennedy leading public sector activities. Paul has been working with Ray and Jared, introducing the wonders of these green construction materials to the US government and to the military. And it is through his work, that we're sharing the Tier 1 story with you here today. Ryan's networking continued, knowing that he wanted the company to apply for an energy storage small business innovation research, or SBIR grant. He asked a friend and advisor, Joe Stymack, to please connect him with a scientist who could, lead efforts in this area, harvesting research and collaborating with the Department of Energy and national labs. And so we were very happy to be introduced to Dr. Michael Mohar, who's agreed to take on our chief scientist role. Wayne Hegwood was introduced to the company through the Friends of Peter network, and introduced to me, at the time that I met Ryan, and agreed that he felt that he would bring what we needed in the area of process, of regulatory compliance, and operational efficiencies, and banking and discipline that we will need, and it will become expansive because of the range of markets that we'll be serving and the breadth of markets, in the United States, the U.S. territories, and then outside in Africa and Europe and South America and Central America. Justin Reynolds introduced me to renewable energy 3 years ago when he and I were working on applications of numerical optimization to energy generation, storage, and distribution. And so when Ryan invited me to join the Tier 1 team, I reached out to Justin, asked him, if he'd like to join. And he has been just a windfall of resources. He's brought with him decades of relationships, knowledge, and experience that we have only begun to tap. It was Justin's his competence and confidence that he's earned in the developers of these massive grid scale solar projects and wind projects that connected Tier 1 directly to the over $22 billion worth of energy storage demand that we see in our pipeline. Greg Boyd, I was asked to travel to Puerto Rico with the president of Permastrong in order to get a better understanding of the renewable energy requirements on the rebuilding of these homes from the Hurricane Maria and the subsequent earthquakes. And I contacted my friend Greg, who lived there, and said, Greg, he and I worked together 30 years ago. I said, I've really like to have the opportunity to work with you again. Let's meet when I get there. And so we met there. I took Greg through everything we were working on, and we visited a former pharmaceutical facility there that is perfect, we think, for standing up, bulk, high quality, high efficient graphene production. And Greg agreed, that he would take on the responsibility for Tier 1 Puerto Rico operations, focusing on nanomaterials. But before Greg made that commitment, he said, I have to introduce Dr. Greg Carmichael, because if we're going to be doing anything in graphene, Dr. Carmichael needs to be a part of it. So Dr. Carmichael, Greg, is the closest you may come to a real-life Tony Stark. He's an F-16 pilot operating at the intersection of finance and applied sciences. He's relied on for numerous industry initiatives, from cryptocurrencies and artificial intelligence to applications of advanced material sciences. And what I told Greg was I would call him the chief futurist, because he's really more where the rubber meets the road, not where the rubber meets the sky. And so where that future will be is very likely going to be the one that he sees. And so following his leadership, to me, makes perfect sense. Jason Fowler, we were privileged to meet. He's introduced to Tier 1 for his work in a non-carbon catalytic steam turbine generator that can solve the problem of range anxiety and recharging battery electric vehicles. And so getting to know Jason, I learned that, he's lived his entire life in the world of steel, in alloys, in aluminum, and that he is pretty much for the steel industries and the metal industries what Justin Reynolds is for the renewable energy products industries. And I said, those alloys, steel, aluminum, titanium, what we'll be able to do by adding graphene to those is going to change those products. It's going to change every product that those product makes. And I said, the sooner that we can begin working on it, the better. And so Jason is, probably the most talented business development executive I've ever worked with. And I'm very pleased that he's agreed to take on the role of Chief Strategy Officer. Thanos Smith, Chief Visionary. I'm humbled and intimidated in working with Thanos. Dr. Carmichael, Jason Fowler, and Dwight Thanos Smith, to me, represent the most demanding potential customers, right? That I could ever hope Tier 1 could win. And all three of them have agreed that they want to be part of this because they see the significance of what we're doing. And if you have not heard of Thanos, um, you please Google him. What you will find is an individual with a passionate vision and a drive to realize that vision that I see unrivaled out there. I've not met anyone that has the vision, the passion, and the drive that Thanos has. And to make the most of Tier 1 graphene and the opportunities that graphene makes available to humanity, we need to have these visionary leaders such as Thanos and Jason and Greg Carmichael. And for myself, I told you a little about myself earlier. I consider myself just humbled and honored to be working with this team of entrepreneurs building the future. Tell you about how we plan to put to use the $30 million. So the $30 million is allocated to fuel our expansion and innovation. We start from the smaller investments to the larger, $2 million to secure the Bioseen IP, protecting the heart of the technological edge. $2 million for green construction product development. We'll be adding graphene to hurricane bars and to the PermaStrong wallboards. Another $2 billion committed for the energy storage business unit product development. We have to redevelop the battery cells and the energy storage systems from the ground up. All of these products that people are installing today are all designed based upon materials capabilities that that the new technology supersedes. We need to take the opportunity to dramatically improve the design and reduce the cost. So we're investing $3 million to acquire PermaStrong, integrating its patented building system and customer project pipeline to profitably bolster our green construction offerings. To power our market presence, we're earmarking $4 million directed towards marketing, sales, and operations. Working capital for green construction business receives $5 million. So there are projects, the $12 million that are already teed up, and a $400 million contract that we've received for 20,000 homes in Bolivia can all begin with the application of the $5 million in working capital. Similar, the energy storage business unit is allocated $5 million, supporting the rollout of these advanced China lithium iron phosphate battery systems that we'll make very good money on, while we design, develop, and deploy the replacement technologies. Our largest investment, most important, is to scale the current 5 tons per day of Bioseen production to over 25 tons per day. And this is through the $7 million investment in the Puerto Rico Bioseen production facility that will be led by Greg Boyd. Each dollar is an investment in sustainability, innovation, and growth, driving Tier 1 towards a greener future powered by advanced graphene technologies.
Is the Bioseen IP developed by any of the people on the team, or is it a third party you're getting the licensing from?
Our Chief Innovation Officer, Ray Rubio, is the developer.
That's what I thought, yeah. And Tier 1, at the beginning, you said it has the worldwide rights for the battery tech. And was it the U.S. rights for the building and construction?
No, they worldwide rights for the sale of all of the green construction.
So I got it backwards, sorry.
But that's it's not that's not an exclusive. We have worldwide rights to production of the biocene, the green graphene, and that's not an exclusive. But what is exclusive is the worldwide rights to the application of biocene or green graphene in the field of energy. So batteries, energy storage systems, supercapacitors, electric transmission lines, inverters, generators, motors. So all of those different uses fall into the category of energy.
Got it.
So as we look to the near future, the immediate 18 months, okay, I focus on cash and keeping the lights on, and how can we profitably execute on the opportunities that we have in front of us. Spanning 2024 to 2025, we're projecting over $100 million in earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. This will be fueled by the Puerto Rico bulk biocene production, generating roughly $40 million in that EBITDA. The green construction business unit is set to contribute $25 million, and the energy storage business unit to bring in $50 million. $50 million being in the reselling, the gross margin, the contribution margin from reselling other products that we have yet to develop of our own. And so, but that's just getting started. Okay, from year 2026 to 2029, we plan to establish a minimum of 6 manufacturing facilities across the United States. We have proposals into Montana, to Mississippi, to Texas, to Kentucky, to they're fighting it out, North Carolina or Tennessee on the site location. So those are for the 5. And then we have the renovation of the former pharmaceutical facility in Puerto Rico. So the building of these facilities, all the capital that will be required for those facilities, we're keeping that separate from what's needed, to grow this business, because a lot of that capital we can source through loans,
Sales.
through debt, through economic incentive program and project financing. And so right now we're thinking that the operating income that our core, kind of 3-front focus will produce will provide more than enough that's required to seed the project financing that's required for these construction and capital equipment projects.
That makes sense. We're just to be clear, we're pre-revenue for tier 1 now, right?
Yeah, tier 1, this entity's pre-revenue. The company that we're, Ray Rubio and his team, they've been operating for 10 years, generating revenue from green construction material projects.
Got it.
And as I mentioned, we'll be, using those as our case studies and so on. So when a customer says, take me to see someone who's done this, right?
Right.
We'll be able to do that. So in conclusion, okay, who is tier 1, right? So tier 1 stands as a vanguard in the graphene revolution. We're innovating with biocene, this patented eco-friendly graphene, demonstrating a commitment to green construction and energy storage. The unique advantage that we have is our ability to produce graphene at scale, cost effectively and sustainably. We're already leading the way with sustainable construction solutions the market is eager to adopt. In energy storage, our innovation with graphene performance is setting new standards for energy density and safety. By investing in tier 1, You're becoming a part of the next wave of sustainable technology. You're fostering the growth of green infrastructure and renewable energy solutions, defining our future. And you're seizing the opportunity presented by the rapidly expanding graphene market where Tier 1 has strategically positioned itself. So I ask you to join us at Tier 1. Invest in a future where innovation, sustainability, and strategic market insight converge.
Stewart, that was a stellar presentation, and I've seen a bunch of them. So it's kind of sarcastic. I've seen thousands. So thank you for doing that. We are out of time, but there was a bunch of questions we didn't get to, but you'll get them separately and you can answer them directly. But that was super. Thank you so much. In fact, that was the first time, aside from Paul, that I've heard the story and then our phone conversation. So I super appreciate it as well. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for doing that, Stewart.
And thank you for the opportunity and for your onboarding process. It was great. You guys made it easy. So
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, we screw it up all the time, but I'm glad we didn't screw it up with you.
no, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you all for being here. We'll make sure everybody can get in touch and ask any further questions. And then, like I said, I think we have the 20. I'm just looking here. In about a week, I don't have it right in front of me, but we're going to do this again in more depth on the raise as well. So that was super. Thank you. And thank you all for joining with us today and sharing with us the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. And just to be confident knowing that your questions that we didn't get to, we'll make sure Stewart gets them and get to you directly. Is that all right, Stewart?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Till next time. Thank you. Bye.